don't fucking care about data. And we have to focus on emotions and what that means in a real life scenario. And what that means for me is somebody that was racially blind, not a racist bone in my body. I suddenly realized I was carrying out racist actions like day in and day out. I participated in the rest of 496 people. Over 400 of them were black males, obviously completely disproportionate. I know that crime is even and all this is distributed. You know, the drugs are distributed evenly among all communities. It's not that they're the ones doing it. I know it's because I'm here and I've been put here. I can do this wherever I'm put, but I'm being put here. Why am I being put here? So I went on a scholarly endeavor to try and figure out the answer to why I was there. But emotionally, I realized that my presence was what was destroying those neighborhoods. Even though we think that taking that drug dealer off the corner is a good thing, taking that black male out of the household is a correlation to causing violent crime. We will all be safer if he stays there selling drugs, because remember, we fear violence. We don't fear drugs. So we actually, our system, am I putting him into jail? Well, I'm using violence to make him more violent and be more likely to commit a violent crime because he has desperation that's growing as you put him into the prison system. We know that you come out of there more likely to commit a crime than when you go in there. I know that the only reason he's being arrested is because I'm looking at him and I have resources for him. So what I am doing is patently making this neighborhood worse. That money that kid is not taking his money and slinging it, buying gold chains and shit like you see on TV. Yeah, there are a few people that do that, but they are extreme outliers. Most people are doing this shit for a fucking bag of chips and to survive. So when I ended up being an undercover narcotic. Well, it's not undercover because like I wasn't buying drugs. I was hiding. So I was covert surveillance. That way. So I was in a major case narcotics squad, and I ended up watching people in their neighborhoods unknown for weeks on end. Like, I mean, I freaking knew these people.
How? I had no idea. Was you just walking past her in a car? Or?
No. So I would get there at I'd get there at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have a van sometimes. And so I would park the van, and it was like tinted out, and I had a camera and stuff. And so I would just sleep in the back until like the sun came up, and you know, so you don't look out of place. And then I would video record everybody all day long, staying in the back of the truck. And then after they are, shut down and go away, that sometime late at night, then I'll finally leave. Or I stayed in vacant places. Like me and this homeless dude were like sharing this vacant, but we never even crossed paths, which was really weird. We would like leave magazines for each other, but I have no idea like where this dude was. We would hide I would hide in all different kinds of places. I didn't like using CIs and stuff like that. I don't like to use snitches. I don't understand why we trust people that we already know are lying to the people that they're talking to. Like, what the fuck am I trusting?
Exactly. Yeah. Sure.
So I always figured I had to see it myself. And so I went in there, and I would lay in any environment and sit there all day long trying to watch it myself. But when you're there, you become part of that environment. And so I saw what was happening before the drug dealing, after the drug dealing. I heard the conversations when the masks were off. Every time a cop is there, we were talking about masks at the very beginning of this conversation. The cop is wearing this costume and this mask when he interacts with the drug dealer in the corner, and the drug dealer is doing the same thing. So they're both having these misperceptions of who one another is. And when you think these drug dealers are hard, they're not hardened people. They're incredibly vulnerable. They're fearful at all times. They're desperate. They're doing things that they don't want to be doing. They want a way out of there. Most of them are doing it to get out. And I understand they may make a rap song saying that that's not what they want to do, but that's the fucking mask, man. If you have to embrace it if you're trapped in it. So yeah, but whenever they get a choice, they don't fucking make $1 million a year on a rap album and then stay in West Baltimore. They move out to the mountains.
Straight away.
Trying to leave. So just seeing everybody as the human that they were in the neighborhood that they were in, I then realized that when I took him out of that neighborhood, that I was harming it. That the little brother didn't have his big brother there. New crew could move in that was more violent. In mobs were made their neighborhoods safe in New York, believe it or not, because you kept the violence in other areas. That's the wrong way to do it. But still, when you have strong neighborhood controls, you do keep the violence down on its own, and you keep crime down. And even if it's just an assault, a cop takes a minor transgression and escalates it to this big, huge offense where people got to go to jail and get crimes and offenses. But the neighborhood uncle, dude, he can settle that beef and make sure everybody's cool and quell the situation in a way that a cop can't, because those masks don't have to be on anymore. And so, like, we can just address whatever, because I will rant for fucking ever. So control me.
This is it. This is your time. Tell the world what they need to know. This is your time, Michael. Freaking crazy. So you were saying you was doing racist acts daily. I wouldn't categorize what you was doing as. Do you really see that as a racist act, or do you just think it's the prejudice because of the environment you was in and the people that you was watching? It was just a natural thing. I wouldn't say that was one thing I kind of put down to pick up. I wouldn't say it was a racist act as such, but I guess you was following what you have to do. The duties from the people that are the higher ups that are telling you, Michael, this is what you need to do.
Sure. So it was a racist outcome. Maybe it wasn't a racist act because it wasn't fueled by that, but the outcome of my actions was racist. And so all I care about is the outcome. As what I do fundamentally, philosophically, that's what I do. I care about outcomes and how we get there in the best ways possible. I don't necessarily care about intent. So, for example, we're really fixated on making sure that racists don't become cops. Why? Who fucking cares? I care what people do. You hired somebody that wasn't a racist, but did actions with racist outcomes. I'm much more happy having a racist cop who does all non-racist actions. I'm not the Minority Report. I'm not going to regulate and try to demand to control people's thought patterns and what they're like. So I think that's a really dangerous pathway to go down. So when you address those kind of issues, that's always a problem to face the people, to think about what we really want, not about what makes us feel good. What will it get the things that we've really achieved? So I think a lot of us are caught up in, and maybe I was too, in the city. Like, I grow up in that same environment where, here's a weird confession. One thing I noticed I did is that when I would chase suspects, and they were almost all black suspects because I worked in the hood, I wanted the action, that when I went to hit them, like with a body check or something, almost every time I was like, holy fuck, that dude was way lighter than I thought he was. And like, I think that part of that is in your head when culture has the black suspect being more aggressive or bigger. Like, I want to deny that, but I know the science says that you will perceive that a black male is being bigger and stronger and more aggressive than they are objectively being, because what you see is a perception. It's an illusion. It's not real. I mean, the eyes aren't windows. They're literally taking in data, interpreting it, and filtering it through all your misperceptions and biases, and then giving you a result. So when Betty Shelby killed Terrence McCrutcher, and she said he thought he was reaching for a gun and that he was big and scary, I need us to realize that she might be telling the truth and that she did see it that way. So when I was out there and I would hit somebody, it's like as soon as I hit them, I was like, oh shit, like, why did I body check him that hard? He was like a buck 15, and like, I would apologize.
Really?
Like I'm sorry, I just didn't fucking know. I did not mean it that way. But so those kind of things that are in our culture are there, and that's what I was seeing at the time. I wasn't able to formulate these things. I didn't understand until, I don't know, 5 to 10 years later when I started studying this. Because what happened was I thought I just felt it was wrong, and I saw these bad signs, but I thought we were super unprofessional. So I went and I spent about a year when I was a sergeant, with the help of a couple of supervisors, covering my back and making sure I didn't mess up my job duties. And I sat there, and while I was doing the lieutenant's test, I sat down and like did this whole thing for like perfect policing. It's 518 pages.
Is that the promotional handbook guide for police and law enforcement?
Yeah.
Check it
right?
out. You
So
can buy it. Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah. So it's still out there. Just I wanted to make sure everybody had. Part of that was about leveling the playing field because there's a lot of internal racism in policing, and we would have to go down another path for that. But that's a part of the reason why that book created too. Is internal policing is incredibly against black officers.